Hi, this is Jen with lovingmeholistically.com, and I am just making a quick video on my floating experience at Float Harder in Portland, Maine. Today was their first day open, I believe. They had their grand opening yesterday, which I went to, and I've been a bit of a stalker. If anybody follows me on Instagram or Facebook, you'll kind of understand what I mean. I have been waiting for them to open and be able to book a floating session for months now. Amy and James, who own Float Harder, came into the chiropractic office that I work at and brought in information. I didn't realize that we were getting, the floating center was coming to Portland, and I have been researching it for a long time and wanting to do it. The closest one was in Massachusetts, and there's a few people, throughout Maine that have personal pods, but I don't know. I don't know how open people would be to, letting some stranger come into their home to use their pod. So anyways, I had a 90-minute session, and the way that the sessions are set up are you can have music and lights. It doesn't have to be complete sensory deprivation. And this first session, I decided to have music. I turned off the lights. The next one I'm gonna do complete sensory deprivation, just to see what that feels like. I went in kind of with some, not apprehension, well, maybe a little apprehension, but I went in with some pretty big expectations, and I think mainly because I do meditate several times a day, never 90 minutes. God, I wish I had the time to do that, but I really wanted to have this profound spiritual experience, but it was more of an emotional experience than anything. As I got into the tank and tried to settle in, I was just kind of, wasn't really overwhelmed, but just kind of taking everything in, and it was a new experience, and just feeling the water, and being able to, like, having the buoyancy and floating. It was very, very interesting. So it took me a little bit to kind of settle and get grounded, and kind of focused on just trying to quiet my mind. However, all I could think about was everything that I need to do tomorrow. And then I started to have a lot of, like, old stuff come up where I was, like, things that I was, like, ashamed of or felt bad about, things that I did, or oh, it's Benny Bee. Ugh, I want to eat your whiskers, gross. Things that, that I had done maybe to other people, and I can't even think, there were so many things that came up, and I can't even think of exactly the details of them, because I would say to myself, this happened, I accept it, and I let it go. This happened, I accept it, and let it go. And I just kept repeating that as things came up. And it was just such a great, like, release. Like, I felt it, like, just melt away into the water, which was really, really cool. So I think for me, this session was more emotionally, it was more like an emotional healing than either a physical, although I felt my shoulders the whole ride home. I carry so much tension. That's where my stress is in my shoulders, and they are, like, soft. I can't remember the last time that I could touch them and, I could move them. This one's still, there's a little tension still in there, but they feel like I had a deep like deep tissue massage, because they're a little sore, but I mean, they're loose. I feel very fluid and loose and very relaxed. um, yeah, it was such a great experience, and Amy and James have just a great business model. When you go in, especially for your first time, you know, it's not something that people hear about or get to experience on a regular basis. So, you know, there's a little like nervousness and apprehension, I guess. I was just all in it because I've been researching floating and sensory deprivation for several years now and have wanted to do it. But, you know, somebody who didn't know so much about it and going in for the first time could have, you know, some apprehension. And they're so good about educating. And when you go in, you watch a little video and it walks you through step by step the process of getting ready to float, and when you're done, what you need to do after. So it's, you know exactly what to expect. So when you go in, you have to take a shower. They also give you earplugs. You put those in prior to getting into the shower. And then you take a shower, making sure that you have no makeup, no body oils or anything, body lotion or anything like that, that will get into the tank, because it's hard on the filtration system. And after every person floats, the water gets filtered and cleaned. And then once you get out of the flotation, float, you take another shower just to wash off the salt. So basically, when you get into the pod or the float tank, you're in like maybe 2 feet of water, and there's like 1,000 pounds of Epsom salt, and it's really interesting. It's such an interesting feeling. Like, you feel weightless. Like, I felt so small. And there's really not a lot of space. Like, from top to bottom, I think they said it was 7 feet in length and then 5 feet across. So if I really stretched out, I could touch the sides and the bottom and almost the top. But you just feel like expansive and small at the same time. It's so hard to explain. And when I first got in, I felt like I was floating in space, which is a really, really neat experience. But yeah, if you ever get the chance to do it, I highly, highly recommend taking advantage of it. And I think every mom should do it. That should be a requirement, as to be a sane mom. That's, yeah. But anyways, I hope you all are well and healthy. I will do a blog post on more details about floating and sensory deprivation. And I apologize, this is so rambly. I'm very blissed out right now. So be well, and I will talk to you soon.